Hello, today I want to record another study and stream. I want to talk about meaning and read some articles on Wikipedia and the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy just to prepare for a conversation. So later in the day, I'll have a conversation at my speaking club about meaning. I've already written some article on meaning, prepared some questions which I'll use during the conversation. But now I want to to find some more information and just to see, to warm up before the real battle. Anyway, so let's go on. Today I'm going to read partly this article on Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, Theories of Meaning, and also I'd like to discuss some different concepts of meaning in different scientific fields. So on Wikipedia, when you type meaning, you see there like meaning in linguistics, meaning in philosophy, non-linguistic, meaning of life, meaning in psychology, semiotics, and existential. And all these articles, basically they are different articles, and each of them talks about the concept of meaning from a particular point of view. And of course, it looks impossible to generalize this concept, meaning, from only one point of view. So we can say like meaning is this particular thing. So in different fields, it refers to something new. It's very exciting, to understand that if you know just one theory of meaning, it's never enough. So you have at least to understand it better, you have to acquaint yourself with several theories to see why they can't merge in just one. But anyway, so yeah, today I'd like to take this article, meaning in philosophy and meaning linguistic, since for now I'm studying mostly philosophy and linguistics. Yeah, probably I'd like to check the definition from. Yeah, I'd like to check all these definitions. Actually, let's see all of them. So semantic, philosophy of language, metaphysics, and metasemantics. Meaning is a relationship between two sorts of things, science and the kinds of things they intend, express, or signify. Okay, so from philosophical point of view, there's two things, right? So science, and science basically words, letters, sentences, phrases, and things they intend, express, or signify. So these things may be concepts, or they may be real things. Like by real, I mean some things which we can see, touch, smell, or experience through other senses. Okay, the types of meanings vary according to the types of the thing that is being represented. Namely, there are the things in the world which might have meaning. There are things in the world that are also signs of other things in the world, and so are always meaningful. For example, natural science of the physical world and ideas within the mind. There are things that are necessarily meaningful, such as words and nonverbal symbols. All right, so I guess it's enough. So basically, I want to just scratch the surface. I'm not going to read the entire article since it's virtually impossible to do now in this short study and stream, especially because I want to read many articles. And yeah, I guess I can read it like one article, but it'll take a couple of hours, and then I won't be able to read other articles. Anyway, so it's a relationship between two sorts of things: science and the kind of things they intend, express, or signify. All right, so it seems I grasped it. Now let's see what is meaning in linguistics. So in linguistics, it basically refers to the concept of semantics. So it doesn't talk, it doesn't show the another article about meaning. It directly refers to semantics, and semantics, according to this article, is the study of meaning, reference, or truth. So in ancient Greek, the word semantikos meant significant. Not significant, but significant. I mean, significant associates with something important. But also, if you look here, so the word sign, yeah, it is more about like reference or truth. It's not about important things. But anyway, so the study of meaning, reference, or truth. The term can be used to refer to subfields of several distinct disciplines, including philosophy, linguistics, and computer science. Okay, basically it's the article about semantics, and I guess I may skip it as well, since I know what is semantics to some degree, and I don't need to analyze it further right now. I don't need to waste time. But again, the point is, in linguistics, in philosophy, it was the relationship between science and what they intend, express, or refer to. In linguistics, it's basically there's no word meaning, no such word as meaning. Well, there is such a word meaning, but it directly links to semantics. And semantics, it's all about meaning or truth. Yeah, but it's not all about meaning. I guess I have to be more careful with words that I use. Okay, semantics is the study of meaning, right? Meaning, reference, and truth. Non-linguistic meaning. What kind of non-linguistic meaning? It's an actual or possible derivation from stations, which is not associated with signs that have any original or primary intent of communication. It is a general term of art used to capture a number of different senses of the word meaning, independently from its linguistic uses. The sense that sentient creatures have that the various objects of our universe are linked and commonly referred to as a person's sense of meaning. This is the sense of meaning at work when asking a person when they leave a theater, what did that movie mean to you? Oh, okay, it's basically kind of essence of experience or an essence of some particular thing, like in this example, some performance. Or we may find other examples like songs. So you listen to a song and then you ask yourself, what does it mean? So there are many metaphors, many ideas may be represented in a song, and it's not always easy to grasp what these metaphors and ideas are about. So, but when you think about, when you consider the song, when you try to ponder on a particular song, and you think about it for a certain period of time, it gets more clear. And then you may say, okay, this song is about like love, for example, or it's about life, or it's about all sorts of emotions. It's about relationship, whatever. The point is, you form an opinion about the larger like, you basically you read an article, or you process a large amount of information, and then you capture the essence of the entire thing, and then you say, okay, this means X. So this entire article means means X, Y, Z. All right, non-linguistic. Yeah, but still, it's very hard to say non-linguistic, since you use language to express the meaning. So in this example with theater, if you're asked what does it mean for you, you can't just, you can't express what does it mean for you without words. So a little bit misleading, this non-linguistic thing. But anyway, just how I perceive it. Meaning of life. Well, I don't even want to check it since it's so broad and broad and what? I just don't want. Meaning of life. Yeah, everyone may say something about it, and there's no need to read what Wikipedia's article tells us about the meaning of life. Meaning may also refer to meaning in psychology. So let's check a definition. Meaning is an epistemological concept. And epistemological, again, it's all about semantics and knowledge, right? So meaning is an epistemological concept used in multiple disciplines such as psychology, the first in these words. So psychology, philosophy, linguistics. I mean, in philosophy, they say there are many disciplines which study meaning: philosophy, linguistics, and something else. In psychology, yeah, first psychology, then philosophy, then linguistics, then semiotics, then sociology, which is with its definition depending upon the field of study by which it is being used. These multidisciplinary uses of the term are not independent and can more or less overlap. Each construction of the term meaning can correspond with related constructions in other fields. The logical positivists, for example, associated meaning with scientific versification. Oh, okay, but still, they don't give a definition, basically epistemological concept, multiple disciplines. And depending on the discipline, you will find different definitions. They may overlap, they may be different, but there's no meaning in psychology, right? So basically, in this article, probably there are some positions like behaviorism, cognitive psychology, German critical psychology. Okay, let's just briefly read it. So meaning is the modern version of idea, according to B.F. Skinner. The modern version of idea. Like an idea, a meaning is said to be expressed or communicated by an utterance. A meaning explains the occurrence of a particular word in the sentence that if there had been a different meaning to be expressed, a different word would probably have appeared. All right, cognitive psychology. Jerome Bruner, one of the founding fathers of cognitive psychology, wrote, very early on, emphasis began shifting from meaning to information, from the construction of meaning to the processing of information. These are profoundly different matters. The key factor in the shift was the introduction of computation as the ruling metaphor and of computability as a necessary criterion of a good theoretical model. Information is indifferent with respect to meaning. Interesting. So computational theories created its own metaphors like information. So they basically replaced meaning with information. And what was the second? So information is indifferent, meaning is always personal, since it's not. It's a information may be well. It's very hard to see how it's indifferent, since as soon as you perceive information, it's always a relationship between words and people, or some entities who interpret these words, assuming that we're already somewhere in 25th century and people are not the only creatures who can interpret words and signs and use language. But anyway, so the idea is that information is indifferent, meaning is always it's a relationship between words and somebody who perceives these words, and again, like person of information. So construction of meaning, it's when you take something and assign a particular meaning to it. A recent example, which I had, I wrote a poem last week about our conversation at the speaking club. And this week I tried to write another poem, and I was thinking about comparing the conversation to a 9-head creature. So an introduction to the poem was some sort of I had an idea to bring life, like to make conversation alive, so to create something out of it. And instead of talking about the conversation, I wanted to talk about 9-head creature. A 9-head creature, basically there were 9 people last time at my speaking club, and so instead of talking like there were 9 people, they were talking about something like some XYZ, etc. I tried to imagine that the conversation is a 9-head creature, and let's see what this 9-head creature like talks about. Let's try to compare it. Let's put it in a different, they call it conceptual integration. So let's take this concept or idea from one field and let's put it in another field. So conversation actually can't be a creature, but in your imagination you may do whatever you like, and so you take the idea of conversation, you put it in a different frame, different context, and then you try to map like what's going on in the conversation. There are people, they're talking to each other, they discuss something. So like how can you map a discussion or just talking from one concept, from one frame to another? You see, okay, there's 9-head creature. Well, it may talk to itself, like it may have some similar, like it may have different ideas, and it may want, or it may have one body but different ideas, and it wants to do like different things, talk about different things, and and then you may analyze like what's the meaning of a conversation, like what was the point. If you have 9 heads and each head has its own point, and well, but then you try to generalize, you try to, okay, it doesn't matter actually how many heads and what they each want, but the point is to understand the general meaning. Like there was a conversation, there was a talk for 2 hours, and it was very dynamic. There were many different concepts discussed, and then you think, okay, was there something similar between all these, ideas? And you kind of know, and again, then you try to basically make sense out of the discussion, trying to like what is this creature represent? What does this creature represent? There's 9 heads, but what's the body? What's actual body? What this body wants? Does it want to to run, to fly, to eat, to play? What exactly does this body want? And again, it's just basically I assign meaning to to certain, experiences, and processing the information is, it's like, I guess it may be interpreted in a different way. So information, basically, I read now, I'm processing the information, but I also construct meaning. So it's not just processing the information. What I'm doing here, mostly I take words, I try to understand what they mean. I try to see whether or not I can understand it. Often I can't. Often I try to I make sounds which 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 may be intelligent, but behind these sounds, there's nothing. I'm just trying to, pretend that I know something, or whatever. Anyway, the process of information, the processing of information, the construction of meaning, cognitive psychology, behaviorism, modern version of idea. Okay, German critical psychology provides a meta-theoretical framework for research on both psychological and computational tasks. One important part of this is the logical historical development of the meaning category. It is shown that meaning is nothing absolute but subjective. Meaning is neither a property of things nor only present as an imagination of cognition. Thus, meaning cannot be defined or assigned as commonly thought. Meaning arises from societal production of use value. Okay, so it's already more interesting, and recently I heard so many lectures on meaning. I watched Mark Turner's lectures, then lectures by George Lakoff, and some other lectures of George Lakoff. And the entire summer I spent, like, the first 2 months, June and July, I spent listening to John Searle's lectures about language and about mind. 28 lectures on mind, 28 lectures on language, and there's like meaning all the time. He speaks about meaning all the time. And yeah, and I guess this idea that meaning is neither a property of things nor only present as an imagination of cognition. So it's subjective, but it can be defined or assigned as commonly thought. So it can be assigned. Like, if it's subjective, why it can be assigned? Meaning arises from societal production of use value. Again, societal production. I mean, when I, for example, this a 9-head creature. So there's me, let's suppose my subjective experience, and I assign meaning to this word. So if I say a 9-head creature, basically no one can understand what I mean, but I can understand it, and I can use it for conceptual, integrate. Like, I can use it to understand the meaning of the conversation. So I may use it for myself. I may think by using this concept, and I don't need to share it with anybody else. So, I mean, I assign meaning to it, and I may say, this is a 9-head creature, let's say, and I may use it for my thoughts, for thinking. Of course, I may share it with somebody else, and people may say, it's like stupid, it doesn't work, or or it's smart, it's great. Let's refer to any conversation as X-head creatures. Use value. Okay, I think I have to read this also, but not now. Anyway, in psychology, again, different fields, like some definitions from behaviorism, cognitive psychology, and German critical psychology. One more article on semiotics. What is semiotics? In semiotics, the meaning of a sign is its place in a sign relation. Okay, semiotics is basically grammar. It's syntax. Another word for semiotics. In other words, the set of roles that the sign occupies within a given sign relations. This statement holds whether a sign is taken to mean a sign type or a sign token. Defined in these global terms, the meaning of a sign is not in general analyzable with full exactness into completely localized terms, but aspects of its meaning can be given approximate analysis, and special cases of sign relations frequently admit more local analysis. Okay, so there's difference in semantics and syntax or semiotics. In semiotics, meaning is determined by the place where the sign occurs in a sentence or everywhere. It's like in language or anywhere else. All right, and existential, well, I guess also about the meaning of life here. In existentialism, meaning in existentialism is descriptive. Therefore, it is unlike typical prescriptive conceptions of the meaning of life. Due to the methods of existentialism, prescriptive or declarative statements about meaning are unjustified. Oh, okay. Basically, description or evaluation. So descriptive means that you talk about what you see or what you know, and you don't give a statement, like you don't evaluate it. You know, I may say, I don't think like some examples which come across my mind. I don't think they're clear. Yeah, but yeah, I'm trying to make the same example. I mean, is it possible to make the same example where you use where you use a descriptive and evaluating statements simultaneously? Recently, I read an article by John Searle, and there was this discussion about how you get from is to ought, and he considered a sentence like a purely descriptive case. So I see an interaction between two people, and one, let's say, whatever, John promises Mary John promises to pay $5 to Mary. So in this case, I must say John owes $5 to Mary. And again, there's the whole like a series of steps how you get from here to there. But when I say John owes $5 to Mary, $5 to Mary, it's a evaluative statement. So I say something about John and about like he ought to pay. Whereas what I see actually is just a promise. So he gives a promise. He says, I promise to pay you $5. And I just describe it. So I describe the situation in the real world, but then it's simultaneously an evaluative statement, since I say that this man ought to do something. But yeah, I guess now it's very vague, so I can't see it better. But there's an entire article, like 20 pages or 30 pages on this, how you derive steps from is to ought. And I don't think that it's quite clear, so it's still very hard. But general examples of descriptive and evaluative statements, like descriptive, the plant is green. It's a descriptive. Basically, I say, I describe what I see, and I like this plant, or the plant is beautiful, let's say. So in this case, I evaluate, I say, like I say, I assign a certain quality to this plant, which may like just my subjective view. Somebody will say, no, it's not beautiful, or but whereas it seems that it's very hard to say it's not green. I mean, leaves are not green, not the plant, but its leaves are not green. Anyway, existential and descriptive. So they say descriptive, in existentialism, meaning is descriptive and not prescriptive or declarative. All right, I see it. What else? Oh, I guess it's like 6 articles. Once again, linguistic philosophy, non-linguistic psychology, semiotic, existential. Now there's an article on Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. It's called Theories of Meaning. And obviously, I'm not going to go through the entire article. I'm just reading an introduction and perhaps its content. The term theory of meaning has figured in one way or another in a great number of philosophical disputes over the last century. Unfortunately, this term has also been used to mean a great number of different things. In this century, the focus is on 2 sorts of theory of meaning. The first sort of theory, a semantic theory, is a theory which assigns semantic contents to expressions of a language. A second sort of theory, a foundational theory of meaning, is a theory which states the facts in virtue of which expressions have the semantic contents that they have. Following a brief introduction, these 2 kinds of theories are discussed in turn. So 2 kinds of theory of meaning, semantic theories, and lots of them, alternatives to classical semantic theory, like semantic theories. There's classical semantic theories, alternatives to classical semantic theories, general questions facing semantic theories, and foundational theories of meaning, mentalist theories, non-mentalist theories. All right, so let's just check the first, like where these disputes came from. So in general semantics, David Lewis wrote, I distinguish 2 topics. First, the description of possible languages or grammars as abstract semantic systems, whereby symbols are associated with aspects of the world. And second, the description of the psychological and sociological facts, whereby a particular one of these abstract semantic systems is the one used by a person or population. Only confusion comes of mixing these 2 topics. Okay, once again, the description of possible languages as abstract semantic systems, whereby symbols are associated with aspects of the world. Okay, basically language and so-called objective world and the relationship between them. It's one topic. The second, the description of psychological and sociological facts, whereby a particular one of these abstract semantic systems is like so one of these abstract semantic systems is the one used by person or population. So in one case, it's once again, description of possible languages or grammars as abstract semantic systems, symbols associated with aspects of the world. So it's like, it's completely impersonal here. So we have symbols and we have the world. And what we study the relationship between these symbols and the world. It's like there are no people at all. And yeah, I guess it's all about like semiotics and syntax. And the second one is when people use some of these languages, grammars, semantic systems for, analyzing some facts, psychological and sociological facts. Okay, to describe. All right. So to describe some sociological and psychological facts. So when people use these signs and talk about, their relationships, their emotions, their thoughts and ideas, it's all about semantics, right? And when there's just the relationship between science and the world, it's syntax. But again, the problem is we never see pure syntax, since there's always a researcher, a scientist, who has to interpret the relationship between science and the world. And it cannot be objective, purely objective. But anyway, and again, I guess there's this entire article is about these disputes, like whether it's possible to have a purely syntactic theory, whether it's possible to have something like Noam Chomsky suggests, that there's like pure semantics, and meaning is defined by semantics. Oh, not semantics, syntax. Pure syntax, yes, syntactical relationships. If you understand syntax, you understand what's going on. But another part of it is that semantics and people, we can't just factor ourselves out of the equation, and basically it's impossible, because to interpret science, we have an interpreter. All right, let's check out what's going on. Lewis was right. Exactly. He was right. Even if philosophers have not consistently kept these two questions separate, there clearly is a distinction between the questions, what is the meaning of this or that symbol for a particular person or group, and in virtue of what facts about that person or group does the symbol have that meaning. Okay. Corresponding to these two questions are two different sorts of theory of meaning. One sort of theory of meaning, a semantic theory, is a specification of the meanings of the words and the sentences of some symbol system. Semantic theories thus answer the question, what is the meaning of this or that expression? It's basically give a definition of certain word. A distinct sort of theory, a foundational theory of meaning, tries to explain what about some person or group gives the symbols of their language the meanings that they have. To be sure, the shape of a correct semantic theory places constraints on the correct foundational theory of meaning, and vice versa. But that does not change the fact that semantic theories and foundational theories are simply different sorts of theories designed to answer different questions. Okay, semantic theories. Classical semantic theories. Gottlieb Frege. Barack Obama was the 44th president of the United States. Yeah, okay. I stopped. I read it without, speaking, since I wanted to concentrate more. Yeah, there are some examples. I mean, this is a huge stuff. And yeah, I heard many times some of these examples, and I think it's all necessary to read. I mean, seriously, to understand better the difference between semantics and syntax, and between foundational theories of meaning and semantic theories of meaning. It's absolutely necessary to read this entire article. And that's probably what I'm going to do right now, but not, recording it, since I don't have so much power to record and studying stream, reading the entire article. I mean, I have enough power, but I guess there will be nothing left for my speaking club. So now I'm going to stop this studying stream. I didn't intend it to be long, so I just wanted to briefly analyze basic ideas, and briefly I can understand, like, on a very superficial level, the two kinds of theories of meaning, and the usage of the word meaning in linguistics, philosophy, non-linguistic, psychology, semiotics, and existentialist philosophy, whatever. Yeah, and I guess there's also an etymology of the word meaning. So it's sense, that which is intended to be expressed, also act of remembering. Verbal noun from mean, sense of significance, import, is from 1680. All right, so that's all what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I want to read this article. Damn it, I want to read it, but I'm not sure I will be able to. Like, probably I'll just put it in my reading list and read it later, since now there are many other things which I wanted to do. But yeah, I see now it's important, since I definitely do not understand clearly the difference. So I see there's like a difference in two kinds of theory of meaning, but I don't, like, I can grasp the surface of it, but I don't understand it. So if now I yeah, and it's important. I mean, the concept of meaning is very, very important. In philosophy, I guess, to do philosophy on a profound level, it's very important. And what's very interesting is that, yeah, I never actually studied seriously this concept in my native language. So in my native language, the word meaning may be translated as смысл. And well, I often use this word, and in the Russian language, the root of this word is thought. So it's not like mean. Mean means like a verb reference. So in Russian, it's more. It's if we translate it literally from Russian to English, it will be with thought. So meaning, the word meaning, I don't know roots of it, like, well, I know there's the root here. So manage, like sense, that which is intended to be expressed, and significance and import. Yeah, but still the word meaning, like, for me, it's very, very unclear. But in Russian, it's quite clear. So смысл, like S, it's basically what is it? A particle, like S, a preposition, like in, on, etc. S in Russian translated as with. So мысль, like мысль, a thought. So мыслить, and думать, it's the same. It's basically the same verbs. So to say мыслить, and we also have like мышление, like the process like thinking, and it's all about like thinking. So thinking, yeah, and it's very striking. I mean, when you think in Russian language, thinking, so there's with thought. When you like see it, how we use this language, so let's say смысл этого предложения в том, чтобы описать то-то и то-то. Like when we think about, like when we assign a particular quality to or property to the sentence in which the word смысл is used, it's basically like it's not just it's not just meaningless sentence. So this sentence has a thought or an idea or something else. And it's also interesting to look at it from from now I see it a little bit more clearly. So there are certain words, and some words may contain no thought at all, maybe just pure nonsense. Well, it's very hard to say, is that possible to have pure nonsense? But still, some words, yeah, maybe like pure description, right? So we may say, again, and in this case, semantics plays a huge role. So when we just make a descriptive statement, there may be no thought if we think about it from a Russian language perspective. So when I say a plant or a flower is beautiful, there's a thought, and the thought is just, I say it's beautiful, so I assign a particular meaning to the flower. But when I say leaves are green, there's no thought. It may be like, and what? Like leaves are green, it's kind of meaningless. So you just point out to something. So there may be difference between, just describing things and assign them particular property or quality. But anyway, so I've done this studying stream. I guess it's enough for me to warm up now in 6 hours, actually. I'll have a conversation about meaning, and we'll see what it's gonna bring. Now it's all. See you next time. Bye-bye.